What's going on, peeps? If you couldn't tell, I like 21 Pilots a lot. Now, there is one band that has received a lot of comparisons to the group. Heck, I've heard some people thought songs from this group were actually from 21 Pilots. But no, this is American rock band Half Alive, most known for their alternative radio hit, Still Feel.
I still feel alive. It is hopeless. I start to notice.
I really got into them when I saw they were announced as an opener for the 21 Pilots Takeover tour in 2021. Whenever I go to an artist show, I skim through the opener's discography to see what I'm getting myself into for their performance. Half Alive connected with me out the gate. Once I heard the funky groove of Still Feel and colorful melodies of Summerland, I was instantly on board. A mix of beat-driven dance pop, dark electro rock, and indie pop, alongside various other experiments. But what truly won me over was their performance at the Chicago show I attended. I've seen many openers throughout the years. Half Alive might have put on the greatest opening performance I've seen yet. Their stage presence is incredible. Their lavish style of clothing, their use of lighting, those dance moves, the energy, and of course, great music. An opener's goal is to hype up the crowd for the main show and get people invested in their work. They blew away all expectations. So in this video, I wanted to go through their history and discography to see how Half Alive came to life. That was corny, whatever. Let's get started. Half Alive originated in Long Beach, California and began in 2016, consisting of vocalist Josh Taylor, drummer Brett Kramer, and bassist J. Tyler Johnson. However, this wasn't the first band Josh Taylor was a part of. He was the lead singer of The Moderates, based in the same Long Beach area. It contains a different drummer and bassist than Half Alive. Garrett Huff and Wes Matheson met through the wrestling team at Woodrow Wilson High School, and when Wes saw Garrett had a drum set, they began their jam sessions. Then Wes invited his friend Josh Taylor to join, and they decided to start a band, eventually making Wes switch from guitar to bass. The band was first known as You in 2009, and then later changed their name to The Moderates in 2011. They liked the name because it reflected how they balanced different perspectives and worked together through music. Taylor used his film background to create their music videos, which actually look pretty dang good. The Moderates would go on to build a strong local fan base of high schoolers and grew further through social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, attracting fans from Texas, Colorado, and the East Coast. They only released one 6-track EP, Color, on August 6, 2013, all leading up to their release show 2 months later to give fans time to memorize their tunes on this life-changing Sunday night at DiBiasa's. Things were going great for the boys. They even had an opportunity to open for legendary rock band Rio Speedwagon at the San Diego County Fair in the summer of 2014. It was their largest show ever, 10,000 people. However, Taylor had other plans. In April 2015, Taylor began a 7-month songwriting program in New Zealand to write 50 songs by December 30th. A friend from his church named Brett Kramer assisted him during this period. As they worked together, found chemistry, and saw the songs take shape, they decided to start a new band in 2016, unfortunately leading to April 10th, 2017, where the Moderates announced their breakup, with each member embarking on new adventures, with Taylor embarking on the wildest one of them all. The duo of Josh and Brett would be known as Half Alive. The name came from a film class they attended where they dove into philosophy and psychology, including a theory about the soul being torn between life and death, almost like you're half alive, which resonated with the class, leading them wanting to represent the tension between good and evil and the hope in life that can exist within it. Their debut EP 3 arrived on August 24th, 2017, including a music video for the fall. It was recorded with James Cross in a helicopter hangar in the Mojave Desert that had been turned into a recording studio. The songs amassed millions of streams within its first year of release. The anthemic, quirky indie pop of the fall has some neat synth work. Love how melodic the hook is, reminds me of The Hype, funny enough. It goes on about how it's tough to share something you've poured so much time into, knowing strangers can judge it within seconds of hearing it. I feel their anxiousness. Back when I used to make music, I was incredibly nervous about what people would think about it. Did I show too much of my real self? Is it listenable? Was it cringe? Awake at Night is a deep personal quest for life's truth that keeps you up at night. Something to fill this void in your heart. Depending on your current situation, the solution could be a lover, or in Taylor's case, God. Seems like a mashup of AGR instrumentation due to the dubstep influence and Tyler Joseph's vocals. Tiptoes has always been my favorite track from this EP. Adored the buzzy production and general intensity of the vocals. It's a struggle to find purpose and identity, not helped by ego and pride getting in the way. It's like a war clashing on the inside. After the EP's release, the duo added bassist J. Tyler Johnson, whom Kramer met at university festivals and reached out after The Fall came out. Josh also knew Jay through his brother, Jordan, who would later play a part in their soon-to-be breakout song's music video. Now being a three-piece, they decided to use live instruments instead of computer-generated sounds in their music and performances. On August 3rd, 2018, Half Alive released Still Feel, with a music video filmed at the famous Popsicle LA that you've probably seen used for multiple other music videos by popular acts. This was the music video that made them famous. It received praise for its dance choreography in this big room lit by LED ceiling panels, possibly being the best proof that white boys can dance. It was shot by Taylor and J.A. Collective, Jay's brother and his friend Aiden, in this way where it looked like it was taken in one shot, but it was actually 5 cuts. They had 12 hours to film the video after rehearsing for 7 days over 2 weeks. Clearly, the result was worth the time. It seemed to stand out to the average indie enjoyer scrolling through YouTube one day and getting this recommendation of 3 free-spirited boys dancing in a warehouse. It's the type of contemporary dance video that keeps your attention the entire time, something you want to rewatch multiple times, racking up their watch time. Sometimes you just want people to come back to your video out of pure enjoyment and to study some possible hidden messages. Being in a dance format gives it even more leverage because now fans will be practicing those dance moves themselves. A low budget, yet creative production made by the band's friends and family. The positive reviews and attention online earned them a record deal with RCA not too long after, as their catalog spiked in popularity. Still Feel was their first song to chart in the US, peaking at number 7 on the alternative songs chart, number 21 on the hot rock songs chart, and was certified gold in the States. The success was completely unexpected, as they had been rather quiet since their first EP was released. Going forward, they knew they had to incorporate dance into each of their videos in some way to keep up their dancing indie band brand and challenge the norms of pop music. After their first live show in October 2018 in Los Angeles, they felt comfortable to move on to an actual tour. From January to February 2019, they toured the US, Canada, and the UK. On January 18, 2019, we got the second single, Arrow. They later told Rock Sound they were working on a bigger project but were just keeping it secret. Eventually, they got in the studio to record their debut album, revisiting songs from Taylor's 50-song project and embarking on their first songwriting session as a three-piece at an Airbnb cabin in Big Bear, California. They continued writing in different Airbnb locations, from deserts to the ocean, until completing the album. On March 14th, they made their first late-night show appearance, performing Still Feel on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was well received by pretty much the older generation because no kids watch that show, let's be honest. They then announced their first world tour for the second half of 2019. On June 13th, they released Runaway with an incredibly choreographed music video backed by their label and revealed their debut album, Now, Not Yet, would drop on August 9th. There were 2 other singles, Pure Gold and OK OK, to hype up the release. There's more promo like on July 15th doing a one-take performance of Arrow and Runaway for Vivo's DCVR series. The boys later performed their signature choreography at Lollapalooza 2019 and Alt Summer Camp in early August, taking us to their debut, which sold 5K in its first week, charting on various alternative rock charts. Man, I still adore this record, possibly even more than when I first heard it. It's a beautiful combination of Christian-inspired lyricism and funktronica. Being at peace with yourself on OK OK, despite pressures from your demons and others, it starts with a low-key atmosphere and vocal melodies before leaping to something more fleshed out instrumentally towards the back end. This track progression can be quite common in their discography. One of the standouts is Runaway, a quirky drum and bass experiment with a majestic hook about confronting your flaws and lack of progress, learning to accept yourself, and realizing you don't need to run from who you are. A grower was Maybe, thanks to the funky, slick guitar riffs and colorful synth solos, all about how you may place yourself in a self-hating mindset about your problems that can be replaced with action once we think maybe there is a light to follow. Interlude The Notion is narrated by British model Liz Ord, where she shares her appreciation of the band's open expression to faith. Apparently religion has taken a nosedive in the UK. I guess God Save the King wasn't enough to draw people closer to faith. Bringing us to Still Feel, displaying the journey of finding hope in hopeless times. Still feeling alive, even when it's hopeless. Finding something in your soul, possibly God, that tells you not to worry. There's a reason this became their biggest hit. It's a funkified, groovy time of electronic magic and catchy melodies. Now I want to hit the dance floor and boogie. Thank you, Half-Alive, for proving white boys can dance. Then there's Trust, about how hard it can be to trust God during life's struggles, even referencing the album's title. There are gifts from God that are here with us now, but he hasn't given us everything he wants to. It's another chill one that builds into something grander through the drums and layers of synths. Similar to Arrow, where more groovy rhythms truly come to life in the second half, asking for things to slow down so he can gain control of his life and chill out, being at peace with the present despite the pressure of the future. Pure Gold showcases the beauty of God's creation in himself and his glory over some bright piano chords. Those distorted oh no's sound so much like Tyler Joseph, man. Big fan of the playful collaboration of Kimbra with some trap elements on Ice Cold, putting aside the dangers of life and recognizing the beauty. Almost like Rest, the busyness of life and the need to take a break from all of it to truly process and appreciate it, followed by the encouraging tune Breakfast, opening up and being vulnerable. Finally, Creature. This takes on humanity's divine perfection alongside her sinfulness. It perfectly ties the album's themes together, acknowledging both where we are and what's to come. We are only creatures, made by a higher power, placing your pride aside to submit to your creator. It's a fan favorite for a reason, not just for the buzzy synth work, pitch shifting, and vocal layering, for the fact this band is such a breath of fresh air after the many I've covered. Look, there's been acts I've talked about on this channel who just outright bash Christianity, religion, and faith, putting my analysis in a weird place where I try to place my emotions and biases aside, but when I stumble upon a rock band that has no issues being open and loving about their faith, it is refreshing and comfortable. They've never classified themselves as a Christian band, just a bunch of guys who happen to be Christian that make music and write about it. Creature took the longest to write, and you can really tell. Unfortunately, the pandemic halted their momentum as it did many acts. Now being unable to tour and record music normally, it did give them a break from the exhausting 2019. In the meantime, Half-Alive released an EP called Inflorescence on May 1st, 2020, featuring orchestral versions of 4 songs from their debut. Following this was a year-long period of silence from the group until March 2021. On March 24th, the band announced their comeback single, What's Wrong, which dropped on March 31st, alongside a stellar music video as always. They also confirmed it would be the first single from their upcoming second album, Give Me Your Shoulders, originally meant to be a double album. Let's just say, there will be a lot of changes and scraps over the next year. Another single, Time 2, was released on May 26th and became a real fan favorite. Despite the fan support, it was practically abandoned from the ongoing rollout. Thankfully, on June 26th, it was announced that the band would open for 21 Pilots on their Takeover tour. These would be their first live shows since the Now Not Yet tour ended in November 2019. I'm glad they were chosen because I probably would have never heard of them. They put on an amazing show, definitely recommend them. A great opportunity for the band, but it didn't make the rollout for this record any less messy. Summerland was a great addition to the summer 2021 on July 23rd. Many thought they'd release their sophomore record this year, 2021, but that didn't happen. There was Make of It and Hot Tea to keep the fans waiting as they announced their own tour and promotion of the album for early 2022. Something was coming. Turned out to be a 6-track EP, Give Me Your Shoulders, Part 1 on February 11th, 2022. Nearly a year after the lead single was released. Okay, so are we gonna get Part 2? No. Part 2 would be cancelled on September 12, 2022 due to reasons beyond their control, and Give Me Your Shoulders would be repackaged as Conditions of a Punk. Yeah, as you can tell, pretty messy. On September 17, 2022, the band began teasing their next single, Did I Make You Up, through TikToks and short videos as they should. It would arrive on October 13, 2022 with a music video ending by announcing their second album set for December 2nd, 2022. A day before its release, they announced a tour for the record, which they set out on for the entirety of 2023. Conditions of a Punk was a bit of a change in scenery lyrically, as it was the first time the band wrote about love, directed towards a person or higher power. Compared to their first album, more focused on the topics of trust and rest, this one is a lot more emotional. I'm pretty torn on it, sadly. Not sure if I mentioned that this is 18 tracks. I guess it was a double album after all, even if the term isn't implied here. Brett said, I think the entire body of work just felt so big big that we wanted to celebrate it, and I don't know if it is due to how bloated the record is, but I found this to be a lot less interesting in comparison to their debut. The tracks begin to blend in with each other, especially towards the back end. The title track gives us an idea of what this record was inspired by. Josh looks back on a failed relationship, realizing that love didn't turn out the way he expected. I swear it's changed genres like 3 times. Raw piano ballad to slamming pop rock to uplifting indie pop. I still love Summerland, a melodic, hopeful summer anthem that brings to mind late nights and fresh starts. We get synth pop with an unexpected key change on Brighton, a cry of help for support from God or a lover similar to Move Me. That one has a beautiful hook that builds to a climactic bridge of clashing instrumentation, followed by the anthemic bop, High Up, finding strength through love even in your darkest hour. Hot Tea experiments with trap, which was pretty controversial, as this strong desire to feel fully connected to and experience life. Did I Make You Up is about coming to your senses that the person you love isn't who you thought they'd be, likely inspired by the aftermath of a breakup. I don't recall the use of shorty. Sounded like 2012 Justin Bieber out here. Nobody is a struggle of identity torn between being someone or nobody. Yosemite is the euphoric feeling love gave him, like sitting on a mountain in the Yosemite National Park, which is now lost. Moving forward, Never Been Better is about putting on a facade claiming you're doing better than you're actually doing. I've taken this approach many times, wishing to tackle struggles on my own instead of inflicting them on others, in comparison to accepting that life is a cycle of both good and bad times on Back Around, filled with electronic breakdowns. Everything Machine points out society's dependence on phones and how they control people's attention and actions. Quite an infectious one that had to grow on me. I guess I'm not shocked the lead single, What's Wrong, is this far down on the track listing given they packed 8 singles on this thing. At least it's pretty good. This one explores the pressure to follow up their debut album with something that meets fan expectations, all while dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. The sound is a lot lighter with those catchy melodies. Wish it ended with that sticky hook towards the end. The acapella at the end of Callback was cute. Feeling self-conscious about being emotionally vulnerable in a romantic relationship. I'll Stop is filled with electronic breakdowns looking back on his flaws in a relationship that has ended, accepting his partner is better with someone else. Now, if you're looking for something to turn up to max volume in your car, Make of It contains a lot of bass and pitch shifting, so jam out. Covering the disappointments Taylor's face in life and his efforts to move on from them. Finally, Bad Thoughts details those nasty thoughts in your head and losses that feeling of being out of touch with someone. A welcome piano ballad that at least gives us something distinctive. After that mess of a rollout, Half Alive were hoping to keep things more straightforward for their 3rd record. They departed from RCA, with their contract likely being expired, and signed to Virgin Music Group. That is such a funny name. Imagine being part of a label called Virgin Music Group. I sadly believe that the pandemic and the Give Me Your Shoulders arc tampered with their momentum. The songs from that record never moved the needle even on alt radio stations. At least by this point, Half Alive had successfully distanced themselves from the 21 Pilots copycat allegations. They're more in line with AGR anyway, but with much more stable production. On September 4th, they announced their lead singles, Sophie's House, which was released on September 19th. They also revealed that their new album, Persona, would be released on November 15th, 2024. Thankfully, this was a solid recovery from their previous record. I found a lot to like here, much shorter too. The title track is an instrumental intro, but Sophie's House has the punch and groove that I adored on their first record, reflecting on the carefree years of life before responsibility takes over. Times you won't be grateful for until they're gone. Automatic is an angry one, both towards oneself and the world, as things seem to be getting worse instead of better. Quite the pulsating breakdown on the chorus. Definitely steers more in the punk direction than anything on the last record, including that epic guitar solo. Appreciated the colorful synth work on People, understanding that everyone you encounter has a life as rich and complex as your own. Bleed It Out allows someone to express their emotions even if it's painful. Vibe with the chill atmosphere of Long Drive, feeling emotionally overwhelmed with the long drive acting as a way to process and cope with your emotions. Getting Casey Hill from Travis Scott's 90210 is quite a surprise. My favorite cut here is Lie Lie, backed by that anthemic hook, supported by the energetic electro-pop production, as it describes the act of adopting a false identity to fit in, often masking true feelings. All My Love sees one hoping to give your lover or God all your focus. in comparison to always pushing for more on the driving groove of the point, and questioning why we try to be something bigger instead of being ourselves, before savoring every moment with a loved one on songs because of the unpredictability of what lies ahead. Enjoyed the low-key soft-spoken sing-along. Cool saxophone addition too, concluding with a completely acoustic thank you, being grateful for the life you have. Half Alive is an underrated rock group, and it sucks they haven't gotten the global popularity I believe they deserve. They clearly love what they do and are unbelievably passionate, whether it's the music itself, the videos, and performances. I grew up on pop artists who would actually dance in their videos, so seeing that there are still acts out there like them is great to see. If you enjoyed 21 Pilots or AJR, you'd love Half Alive. At least give Still Feel a shot. Their critics can't even hate that one. Josh's soaring vocals that I probably haven't discussed enough, their honest and introspective writing, funky and creative production, and lavish aesthetic and charm. How could I not like this band? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe for more bass content. I'll see y'all next week. Make sure to love all and peace.
Love me.